first, can you start off introducing yourself and what sport you play and major?
My name is Alvin Davis. I play football and I major in civil engineering.
From knowing some of the majors of your teammates and just maybe some other student athletes on campus, do you feel that some majors tend to occupy more student athletes than others? Like, are you all kind of pigeonholed into certain majors?
Well, yeah, sometimes, like, if you don't make the certain grades, like, especially, like, they'll try to put you in, like, an easy major. But I didn't want to do that, so, because I want to make the money, you already know. So,
Who's they?
like, some of the football players that don't, like, try hard in their classes and
Well, no, who's they that they try to make you take easy classes? Is it advisors or coaches?
athletic advisors and coaches.
Okay. You're a freshman, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel, what do you think the biggest difference so far with academics is between between the fall and spring? Is it easier when you're out of season?
Yeah, it's more, I don't know, you get more time, like, to study. Like, cause in high school, I didn't have to study at all. So, like, then when I got here, I found out I had to study. So, not having to do football, like, all day.
Where are you
And I
from?
get time to study. Miami,
Oh, so you're
Florida, yeah.
far drive. So what made you decide on Kentucky?
I would have to say the environment and the coaches and some of the people around here. Cause I had, like, Florida and Bama. So people thought I was crazy when I picked Kentucky, but yeah.
We're glad you did. Do you find that CATS is helpful to you in terms of?
Oh yeah, CAT's very helpful. Like the tutors, we can call up on Sundays or something and get a tutor if we really need one. So I mean, it's very helpful.
What's a typical day like for you at CATS?
Let me see. Well, maybe about 5 or 6 hours a day.
Is it just more like studies? Like, do you have like specific tutors that you're going to meet with, or is it just like quiet study?
Specific tutors.
Do you spend a lot of time in Barb's office, sleeping on the couch? Are you actually doing
Kind of go up under the stairway.
Yeah. Nice little neck there.
How do you feel your time is spent, like, in season versus out season? Do you think you're, like, 50-50 for academics and athletics, or do you think it varies?
I feel like I'm more into football.
Okay.
Like,
so your identity, do you think you're a student first and an athlete, or an athlete first and then a student?
well, during season, I think that you're actually an athlete. Like, but myself, being me, I prefer to be a student first, then an athlete.
What do you think the percentage balance is of time in season?
Maybe about 90% of football
90%.
and 10% of school.
And now, as opposed to, do you think
It's about
balances out?
50-50. Yeah.
Do you find that your grades are higher in the off season?
Oh yeah, my grades are like, now I can be proud of my grades. Like last semester it was like, I ain't gonna be able to do this. Like, I mean, so like the first semester is more like making an adjustment, kinda. I think every freshman go through that phase.
Absolutely. Do you feel like CATS really helped you with that
Oh yeah,
adjustment? If they
CATS.
weren't there, do you feel
If they weren't there, I'd be gone right now. I'd be back home.
Do you feel your coaches and athletic advisors are really supportive of you all as a whole academically?
I mean, if you don't do what you have to do, they're gonna run the heck out of you. So I mean, yeah, I'm sorry.
you say?
How do you feel faculty overall perceive student athletes?
What do you mean by that question?
Do you feel that faculty believe stereotypes about student athletes, almost like the jock?
Oh yeah, a lot of like people think that we get the easy way out. Like, you know, like, oh, you get your scholarship paid for. I hear it all the time. But I just want them to go through the day just one day of what we do. Waking up at like 4:45 to work out, and then
go on, sorry.
and then having to go to class afterwards.
Has any of your professors said anything in particular that might be stereotypical?
Yeah, I hear it all the time. Like, if one football player hasn't shown up, they'll be like, well, let me start calling roll. Maybe the football players will show up. and I'm like, hey, it's one football player that's missing. You know, I hear it all the time.
Do you ever correct anybody if you hear like students?
No, I
talk
just,
about it? You just
I
let it
just,
go?
I just keep my mouth shut and just be like, okay.
How do you think students perceive you? Do you think students have a better attitude towards athletes, or do you think they have negative attitudes in your experiences?
Most time they have a negative.
Yeah.
I mean, cause it's some people on the teams that like, you know, like that don't like, they just like have their own group. Like I try to make conversation with people. I have a lot of friends on campus that are not football players and stuff. And some of the football players think it's like weird that I go out and, you know, hang with other people. But
Do you think those students, when they first met you, did they have a different attitude about an athlete?
oh yeah, I had to start a conversation with them. I'm the one that actually started conversation.
Yeah.
And I've asked them like, what do they think? What do they think about the football players before I like start talking to them? Like now they think I'm the coolest thing, but back then they just, I don't know, they probably like, yeah, football player. But I hear it all the time.
Do you feel as a student athlete that you have the same time to succeed academically as the rest of the student body?
Well, I got the red shirt, so I get 5 years. So hopefully that makes a difference. But it's like the time, you got to have time management to do both sports and school.
How many
You-
hours are you taking this semester?
Like 16,
How many did you take last semester?
16, something like that.
That's my question. I actually want to ask you how you feel about scholarships, one-year renewable scholarships. Do you feel that if a student or if an athlete isn't performing on a field, but yet their academics are still where they need to be, that they should still be allowed that scholarship, or do you feel that it should be taken away if they're not performing? Because it's solely an athletic scholarship, really.
Well, yeah, me and the coaches might have a different perspective. So, I mean, I think they should keep it. Like, people should have time to develop on the field. Like, I mean, because I started playing football my senior year of high school. So, I mean, I'm still getting better. And
So you feel if you were given a scholarship that it should be like a Robinson scholarship on campus where they get it for 4 years as long as their GPA is where it is so they can develop, and the coach doesn't have the right to just take it off of you if you're not playing?
yeah, I do. But being an athlete, it's hard to keep you. You gotta work hard to keep your GPA up there.
Yeah.
You really do. It's hard. I just want some of the people that says it's easy to do it for one day or maybe a month. I guarantee you they won't say nothing else.
Coming into college, have you always had good support system, family, friends in terms of your academics, just in life in general?
Yeah, I did. Like my parents, they always tell me, like when I get this education, like what I can do with it, you know. Because a lot of people in my family didn't go to college. So I'm like one of the first in our generation to go. So I'm trying to stick it out.
If you could tell somebody coming into college, what advice would you give them? That's going to be playing a sport.
Why they playing sport? Stay away from the parties. That mess you up too. They will. I partied for about 2 weeks and I was like down in the grade book, so I had to stop. And I finally brought my grades up, so
That's good.
yeah.
Do most of football players tend to live together, or is there some that?
Yeah, we pretty much stay together. Like when we move off campus, you'll find your roommate, 2 or 3 of them, and they're all football players. But I hear a lot of the guys now talking about they're gonna be rooming with some of their other friends next year. So I mean,
Do you feel that affects your academics if you move off campus as opposed to on campus? Do you think that would affect the team's academics?
yeah. I mean, 'cause you don't have the coach, like the coaches on campus, like they can just stop by your door and make sure you're doing whatever you gotta do. Now you live like way out there on Taste Creek.
Yeah. Yeah.
and all of that. You gotta like keep up with it yourself.
You can ask him about- How do you feel about compensation of athletes? Say if you become a star player and your jersey, like Tim Tebow's jersey, would be sold and there was millions sold. Do you feel you should get compensation for that? Or do you feel that it's a part of your commitment to the university?
I feel that it's a part of my commitment to the university. Like, I mean, I believe that every player that commits can be like great. So, I mean, I just feel like it's a part of commitment to the university.
Do you feel there's anything different on your recruiting trip that the coaches told you or that players told you that? Is
Oh
different?
yeah, oh
Like
yeah, of
what?
course. Like there's not like, whenever I was up here, you think it's the greatest thing. I mean, cause you coming from like home. I mean, your parents ain't telling you what to do. You going out with the guys. They football players. Everybody's around them. So I was like, hey, okay, I'm about to come up here.
Yeah.
So I mean, of course, like the recruiting, like it's crazy. They got something called deprogramming. Like as soon as you get up here, you just like the other ones, man. You are. Like when you was up here on your recruiting visit, oh, they feeding you steaks,
Yeah.
potatoes. You're like, oh, man, I'm about to come up here. You get up here, you just like the other fellas. Oh, get to the weight room. They yelling at you. I'm like, what? You just feed me steaks. You just feed me, man. Yeah, but I mean, it's part of it. So
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions?
I don't think I can.
I can't even. Do you want to say anything? Questions, comments? Want to vent for a second?
I do have a question because you're in an engineering major. That's probably unique for a student athlete, especially stereotyping a football player. Do you
Yeah.
feel that kids in your classes stereotype you a lot more, or have you not gotten into the major requirements yet?
actually, I kind of know everybody in my engineering classes. So I mean, we all cool. We all study together and stuff. So it's, and I live in the engineering dorm right there in Ingle. So.
Do you feel like that dorm helps you?
Oh yeah, cause we all hang out in the lobby and stuff. Like, I live with some of the other football players. They don't really like hang out with, outside of the football group. So I mean, I just go out there and hang out anyway, and study and eat pizza with them.
Cool.
All right, well.
Thanks.
Mhm.